Thank you, sir. Sorry for a little late.
Please introduce our eminent speaker,
Of course, of
Professor
course.
Shaukat Mahmood Saab, visiting professor, University of Lahore, Pakistan, and chairperson Professor Mashood Imran, Professor, Department of Archaeology, Jahangir Nagar University, Sawar, Dhaka. Welcome both of you, sir. And please chair the session,
Thank you, sir.
Imran Saab, and introduce our eminent speaker.
Uh, thank you very much. And sorry for again, sorry for little late. Especially sorry to Professor Shaukat Mahmood. And I'm privileged and I'm feeling honored that to introduce him in this session. And Dr. Shaukat Mahmood, that he is a very eminent cartoonist. And he also got two national awards. One is in 2001. It's called President's Medal for Prize of Performance, and second one is 2010, Sitariye Imtiaz. And he did his PhD in University of Edinburgh, UK, and he is a very specialist on Islamic architecture. And he was Dean in Faculty of Architecture and Planning, University of Engineering Technology, Lahore, Pakistan, and Chairman, Department of Architecture at the same department. And he was the member of UNICEF 12 member International Art Committee for selection of designing for UNESCO greeting cards. And he was a member, Board of Governor, Lahore Museum, Lahore, Pakistan, and member Executive Committee, Lahore Museum, and member Technical Committee in Lahore Fort, and member Tasdeed-e-Lahore. It's mean uplift of architectural heritage of Lahore. That committee, he was the member, and a member of Board of Governor, National Fund for Cultural Heritage, NFCH, Government of Pakistan. And he uh, 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 he did near about 200 TV documentaries, 350 papers on Islamic heritage, and 35 research papers he published, and over 200,000 political and social cartoon published in domestic and foreign media, and 4 books of his cartoon published, and 2 books of his travel logs been published, and a book on Western art movement in Urdu, a book on history of miniature painting in Urdu, and supervised near about 20 PhD theses and 50 MPhil theses. So this is all, but this is I went to go I went through his total career in Google. That there I found so many things, and I think it's very it will be a very interesting things to us to hear from him. So I would like to ask Professor Shaukat Mahmood to present his paper. Please, Mr. Shaukat Mahmood, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Professor, for a very good introduction you have made of me, though I don't deserve that much. Anyway, whatever was possible, I have been doing in the field of education and also in the field of cartooning. So my lecture on today, or presentation today, is on the eschatology in Islamic architecture. And when I say it is eschatology, basically in Islam, when a person dies, we simply bury him in a grave. And that is what is taught to us and what our religion says. But over the time, there have emerged various kinds of tombs also, and some of the tombs are very interesting. But before I go to the ending of my lecture, or I go directly to the Islamic tombs, and let me talk to the background of my study today. And we have to look at the deaths in main religion of the world, how the dead bodies are disposed of in other religions. That is also very important to understand what we do in Islam. For example, the Buddhists cremate the bodies of their dead. The Christian, after cremation, the remains must be interred, not scattered or kept at home. As in Judaism, the dead are buried as soon as possible. And then in the Zoroastrianism, that is a unique religion, and they neither burn nor they bury. They instead leave the dead body in an open space, as you see in this picture. At the top of a hill, there is a circular building, and the dead body is placed in it and left open to the sky. And the birds and animals can come and eat the dead body. So that is a unique type of disposing of the dead body. Then we come to Hinduism. Hindu generally cremate the dead body, but in case of the infant, they do not cremate the dead body. So that is the very common practice, I'm sure. When you come to Islam, the dead body is based and then wrapped in a plain cloth, which is known as a coffin. This is buried in the ground after the funeral service. Only burial in the ground is allowed according to the Sharia, or what we call the Islamic law. There is no other method which is permitted in Islam. Now, nonetheless, the differences have occurred, and some of them are quite interesting, and that we will learn during the course of our lecture today. Now, the history of the burial goes back to the time of Adam and Eve. And in the Bible, we have the story of the two brothers, Cain and Abel, are two sons of Adam and Eve, and the Quran mentioned the story, calling them the two sons of Adam. Cain is described as a crop farmer and his younger brother Abel as a shepherd. Now, over the period when they lived together, the Cain is portrayed as a sinful, committing the first murder by killing his brother, after God rejected his offering to produce but accepted Abel's sacrifice. Thus, Cain was the first human born, and Abel was first to die. This picture is the depiction from the Bible, and the oldest known copy of the biblical narration is from the 1st century Dead Sea Scrolls. Cain and Abel also appear in the number of other texts, and the story is the subject of various interpretations. Incidentally, only two sons are described in most of the religious books, but where there was a third son also by the name of Seth, that is very rarely mentioned. When the brother had killed his son, and the problem was how to dispose of the dead body, what to do with the dead body, where to hide it. Then while he was searching for the method to dispose of the dead body, he saw that a crow was trying to bury his fellow crow who was dead in a pit. So the crow was trying to dig a pit to bury his fellow crow in the pit. And so the idea came to the mind of the Kavil also, that he should also dig a pit to put his brother's dead body into that pit. And that is how the burial system evolved in the history of mankind. This is the picture. You can see the crow, and you can see the Kavil looking at the burial of the dead crow. The Kavil is considered the first murder victim, is sometimes seen as the first martyr, while Cain, the first murderer, is sometimes seen as an ancestor of evil. So these are the two differences between the two brothers, good and the bad. In this diptych painting, we see two scenes. One is brother. In both these pictures, the two brothers, the Abel and the Cain. Abel is on the left with the shepherd, and the Cain is on the right with a farmer. And you can see he's killing his brother in this biblical story or in this illustration. And that is another illustration from the Bible. Two brothers are seen here. And then we go to another phase of the history of the tombs, and that is the tombs in the ancient Egypt. But this is very interesting. In ancient Egypt, we see that the dead bodies were placed in an underground chamber. And in this case, the building which you see made of stone is known as a mastaba. At the top of the mastaba, you see a hole, and that hole goes to the underground level where a dead body is placed. That is a coffin of the mummy, which is lying there. You can see in this picture, and that is over here. And the pit is from here to here, and the belonging of this person, maybe jewelry or cosmetics or the food or dresses, are thrown into this pit so that he can enjoy all those things after the death. That was the concept of death in the ancient Egyptians. And this building, which had sloping walls and a pit at top, was known as a mastaba. So this was the earliest practice. But then we come to this type of the tomb architecture in ancient Egypt. First mastaba is here, mastaba of the father, and then his son built another mastaba over it, and then grandson built another mastaba over it. And this system continued. Ultimately, we got this kind of a step pyramid. And then one of the important step pyramid is the pyramid of Zoser in Egypt. And then as the time passed on, we reach the climax. From the step pyramid, we go to the bent pyramid, and from the bent pyramid, come to the actual or true pyramid. So we see these three pyramids, a complex of these three pyramids, side by side at the place known as Gizeh in Egypt. These are the three main pyramids. The largest is Cheops and the Chephren and Mykrinos. But there are a lot of stories about these pyramids, and perhaps that's a separate topic of discussion. And maybe sometime, maybe in the next lecture, I will talk about the mysteries and the complications and the technology, how these pyramids were built. And then in these pyramids, dead bodies or mummies were placed, and the mummies were, this is the stone coffin, which is known as a sarcophagus. This is the wooden coffin, and this is again the wooden coffin. And this is one of their gods, looking at the dead body of a person. And these gods were not only the humans, the gods were in the say, crocodiles, they were monkeys, and they were cats. They were gods and goddesses, all mummified, like in these pyramids. The final pyramid was this kind of pyramid, which is known as the true pyramid. Now, if you look at this pyramid, the height at the apex from the middle is 139 meters. And if you compare it with Qutub Minar, that Qutub Minar is only 73 meters. And the Tower of Pisa is just 57. Only 2 or 3 buildings are higher than this pyramid, that is Burj Al Khalifa, or the Twin Towers in Kuala Lumpur, and the Eiffel Tower. But you can just imagine the size of the huge pyramid which is there. And within this, I had a chance to go into one of these pyramids. This is a very small, narrow passage. You cannot stand in it. You have to bend down and then move into it, and ultimately you reach this gallery where you can easily walk upright. And then we reach the king's chamber. You will notice 2 shafts here, one here and one here. These people, the ancient Egyptians, were expert in 2 sciences of the earth, that is the looking at the star and the stargazing, that is astronomy as well as astrology. And once in a month, the sunlight came straight to the tomb chamber, and once in a month, the moonlight came straight to the tomb chamber. That was their technology, or the climax of their technology. Following the great tombs which were built in Egypt, we come to the ancient tombs in Iran during the period which is known as Achaemenid's tomb. They built 2 types of tombs, or an independent standing tomb like this, standing on the pyramid-like shape. And then there is a single room chamber over here in which the dead body is there. And they also cut the tombs in the rocks. They were like this. And the access was very difficult. And there were a number of tombs like this at Naksha-Rustam. They all were built between 550 and 330. And there is a number of them at Naksha-Rustam. And today this place has become a tourist spot, and a lot of tourists go there and look at these tombs. They're also like a wonder of the world. Then we have an example of the burial of the dead bodies, and they are the Roman catacombs. Catacombs were underground burial chambers built around the shaft of the well. And from the shaft of the well, as we descended downward, there were many streets on all 4 or 5 sides of the well, and within those streets there were shelves in which the dead bodies were placed. This is the kind of the catacomb we have. We can go down in this well in the circular form, and at every stage we have streets behind these openings. And these are the maps. The wells are here, and these are the streets at various level. And in all these streets there are aperture or shelves like this, in which the dead bodies were horizontally placed. Till the time they were eaten by insects and only the bones were left. And the bones were left, they were collected by the janitors and placed like this in the catacombs. Either they were placed in this form or they were placed in this form. So there used to be a collection of these tombs in these catacombs. We also hear a great tomb which existed at the place in which is at the place is in Turkey today, but originally it was known as Halicarnassus. And the original tomb has finished and crumbled due to the earthquakes. But these are the three examples which are considered as contributed to the seven wonders of the world. That is the Great Pyramid of the Cheops, then the tomb of Halicarnassus at Halicarnassus, and the Taj Mahal at Agra. They are amongst the seven wonders of the world. The three most expensive tombs which I have come across is the Taj Mahal and the tomb of Jahangir at Lahore and the tomb of Anarkali also at Lahore. Why they were most expensive? Well, maybe I will talk to you about some details about these tombs which make them so expensive in the world. This is the tomb which is at Taj Mahal, Agra in India. And then this is the tomb of the lady who is buried in it, Arjun Banu Begum, wife of Shah Jahan. And actually Shah Jahan wanted to build another Taj Mahal across the river Jamuna with black marble. So there were going to be two Taj Mahals, white Taj Mahal and the black Taj Mahal. But when Shah Jahan was arrested by his son Aurangzeb, he was unable to complete that. And I have seen myself across the river Jamuna, there are foundations of the black Taj. But that project was left unfinished as Shah Jahan was arrested by his son and the black Taj was not built. So when Shah Jahan died, he was buried on the side of his wife. This is the second temple. Now the most important thing is, we see two graves, but neither Ajman Banu Begum is in this grave, nor Shah Jahan is in the grave. They are in a separate room which is downstairs, and where we never go, where the visitors never go. Visitors only come to this place and make dua or fatiha and then go away. And these are the two pictures of the sarcophagus. When I use the term sarcophagus, I simply mean that there is a grave-like structure, but there is nobody inside this grave. This is just empty. The actual grave is somewhere else, and that is the ground level. The kind of decoration which is carried out on these cenotaphs, they make it most expensive, because all these stones which you see, they are very expensive stone, and this white marble has been cut, and then these stones have been buried into those cavities. And the workmanship is so precise that if you close your eyes and move your finger on these stone slabs, you don't find any joinery. You do not feel any joinery. That is the height of precision. At Taj Mahal, at Jahangir's tomb in Lahore, we also see that kind of stone workmanship, technically known as Petra Dura. Petra, simply a combination of two words. Petra in Italian mean stone, and Dura mean durable or hard stone. These are the cenotaphs of Shah Jahangir in this building, very similar to the cenotaphs of Shah Jahan and Arjman Banu Begum in Taj Mahal, Agra. And since it are covered with Petra Dura, they made it more expensive. And then the third tomb, which is most expensive, is the tomb of Anarkali, once again at Lahore. And it's so surprising that it's so expensive, because just whole sarcophagus, the whole structure or whole coffin is just one piece. The cenotaph is just one piece of marble. And the most important thing, or most surprising thing, is normally these tombs of the Mughal carried the name of the person who is buried in it on the foot side of the cenotaph. Interestingly and surprisingly, this tomb, which is so expensive also, doesn't bear the name who is buried inside this. And that secret has generated many stories. For example, Jahangir very explicitly explained his love story with Noor Jahan in his Tuzke Jahangiri, which is his biography. But he doesn't say a word about Anarkali. And yet the tomb of Anarkali is there. So that makes it very, very mysterious. Why it is so? that the name of the name of the person entered in this tomb is not given on this, and what is the reason. So that's another story which makes it very, very complex and very intriguing. What is the reason that there is no reference subject to Narkali in Tuske Jahangiri, and there is no reference to his this love with this lady. What happened? Why it is so? Later, maybe yet another lecture, I will talk about this. So this is the sonograph of the lady Anarkali. There's some detail you can see. The details of this and the name of the Allah's 99 names of Allah are carved on this. And there's more detail of this building.